sponge cakes used to make with all the
Layers.
sweet
Layers
butter
and,
icing.
that took like multiple
And,
days to
Yeah,
make.
and
Grease down there, see, the bishop says, you tell that lady, I want that big
Tell that lady.
cake. But yeah, so Uncle John had to deliver it,
Yeah.
and he had to step on the brake at one point.
Oh no.
And it went,
He had some
it's
chains.
moved, and he had chains in his trunk, and
You know,
the
they used to put
chains went in
on
it.
the tires for the snow.
It goes,
Yeah,
my
mine
mother's
would've been
gonna
on that cake.
kill me. And he brings it, he moves the chain and brings it in. The lady says, we could work around this. We'll cut the good part and serve it. And they won't have to know
Cut
that the
middle out
chain,
where
the chain went.
and
We'll
he said,
salvage
"Please don't tell my
pieces.
mother."
It's so big.
Oh my God.
He goes, just don't, whatever you do,
Just
do
don't
not
tell
tell my
my
mother
mother.
that it got chains in it after all her hard work.
That is so funny. Cutie.
Well,
And then you
smacking
said
with
that-
cake.
They're also good. And she said that Grandpa would come and pick her up at school. You tell how they come running out.
Oh, the
Anthony,
nuns.
Mr. Anthony, or Mr.
Yeah,
Anella.
Mr. Brunelli, remember my dad they had this back driveway at,
St.
St.
Agnes.
Agnes. And they wanted, would you drive us to the convent in Leavenworth? Because they wanted to, they had to go visit the, something at their Lady of Sisters of Mercy convent in Leavenworth. Mr. Brunelli, they run out, they jump on the running board, the cars have the running board, they jump on the running board. Will you drive us? We gotta go to Leavenworth to the convent, will you drive us? Poor thing, and he.
He'd do it, but they do it all the time. Every time he'd come pick her up, they look for him. Oh, Mr. Brown, will you take me here? Will you do
Yeah,
this?
you.
And you can't say no.
He's just trying to come pick up his daughter and go home.
Yeah. Mr. Brunelli. They jump on his running board.
Yeah, it must live
Mr.
an hour,
Salsa's got
hour
a
and a half
doctor
away.
appointment. Bring her
Slow,
back.
there was no freeways back
Yeah,
then. They were
you're
just
right, there's no
city.
freeway.
Yeah, the car goes like 30 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah, would you do that?
Yeah, that one time we had to take him clear to Leavenworth.
I like how they jump on his running board, so like he can't even
Do
speed
it.
away if he
Yeah.
wants to.
I like the one with the mailman.
Yeah, yeah.
She
Then-
spoke quite a bit of Italian, right, Grandma Ranella? Did she?
No,
What's her name?
Did
Grandma Ranella speak Italian?
no.
She understood everything, but she couldn't
Oh,
speak
okay.
it. But she understood everything.
Because Grandpa Ranella would
My
talk
dad,
to his mom in
they spoke-
Italian.
He spoke to his mother in Italian.
Because Grandma and Grandpa were both born here,
Oh,
right? But their parents were.
Now, Uncle Bibi was born in Italy because
Okay.
their mother went back to visit her family. It's the only time she ever got to go back and see her family.
After she left when
So
she was
when did they
16.
come? When did they all
He was
come?
born over there. But,
When did they all come?
When
did they come?
19, what?
oh, shoot.
Oh, no, it would have been before that.
The end of the turn of the century, there, the
Yeah.
end of the 1800s.
Because
Yeah,
her
that's
grandma
what I'm
was
thinking.
16 years old. Her grandma was 16 when she came. All the 16-year-old girls came and met the boys that had come a little sooner.
And some of them never laid eyes on these guys before. The families would bring, the men had come ahead and get jobs.
Yeah.
But they were building the railroad going west at that time.
Yeah.
And they all came and got jobs on the railroad. Because there was no work out, you know, in Sicily.
Yeah, because my grandfather came in 1908, and that's it, he came
That's
with the
about when they
railroad.
all came, the turn
Yeah,
of the
and then my
century.
grandmother came in 1912.
Okay.
And the men came ahead of time and
Mhm.
got their jobs and saved up enough money then to send for their future wives to come over. Then they
Yeah, my grandmother
got
was,
married.
my grandmother was 14 when they got married.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
They'd get married at
Yeah.
50
Oh, yeah.
years old.
oh yeah,
Their
yeah,
lifespan
that was
wasn't
normal.
long back
Yeah,
then.
their
That was
lifespan
normal.
went
My
long.
grandfather
I
was
only like
24.
16.
And she was
He was
14.
24, she was 14.
Wow.
When
Whoa.
you
Set it
look-
up.
If you look at their pictures, they look like little old ladies. I mean,
Uh-huh.
they look,
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
mature.
The way they were,
Yeah, they're-
dressed, yeah. Yeah,
Then,
when I
then,
look back and I think my grandma was, when I figure my age when I was a child, there, we were always down my
Mhm.
I thought she was an old lady. Then when I figured it up, I said, gee, she was only 40 something,
Uh-huh.
But they wore those,
Yeah.
their long house
Yeah,
dresses,
the
they
old
wore
dresses,
those
yeah.
tied up shoes like.
Hair in a bun.
And their hair was all in the
Yeah.
but they call it, all up in the bun on top of their heads. They looked old, they looked old to us anyway, but they were young.
back then, that probably wasn't so young though. But the way your grandma and see it lived to 95, that is,
Yeah,
they had a long life.
95. little saints, my grandma would say, oh my God. Always said, if you didn't love those two ladies, there's something wrong with you. Sweet as things, oh, just sweet as could be.
Tell her how when the 16-year-olds all came over and they went over to Westport and found a place. You said for their wedding night, they had to put sheets up between
Oh,
the
yeah, they
couples.
had sheets hanging between the beds, they all got married.
The 16-year-old girls all came over to make the guys got them, and then they went to Westport, found a little place to,
Well, that was,
Yeah,
it
everything
was
was
Port
pretty
Landing,
arranged.
they
Yeah,
called it.
Port
That's
Landing.
where
as
all
far
the
as it went.
wagon trains used to set off from
Mm.
Westport area, would set off to go, and in Independence, to set off to go west. Was the starting point of the,
But they found
covered
some big
wagons,
room
and
up
yeah,
there.
they were-
Yeah.
Put a bunch of sheets up
Right there,
over
Westport
lines
Road.
to divide bedrooms for the.
Kelly's bar, is it Kelly's out there? And that's the
Yeah.
oldest building in Kansas City, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
was any,
Kelly's bar out on Westport, I think is the oldest
yeah, the
building
oldest building,
in Kansas City.
Mhm.
And Westport really wasn't starting
That's
Kansas
where
City. It
they
wasn't
started. Yeah,
started
yeah.
out of Kansas City, it started out of Westport.
And then her grandma was 16 when she came over, and one of the other friends was 16, Mrs. Fisoni,
Miss Fasoni.
and they were good friends all their life, and they died at 95, one day apart from each other.
They said, well, they came together and they
They
left
left
together.
together.
Uh-huh.
That's grandma's, who was that?
My grandma.
Grandma Renella's mom?
Mhm.
Or
No, Grandma Ranella.
Grandma.
I mean, great grandma, the lady in the box.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Great grandma.
Mother was Ricardo.
Oh, grandma's mom.
Grandma Ricardo was my
And Miss Fasoni, what is that to Jean Fasoni? Was that her great grandmother?
Uh-huh, yeah.
My friend Jean Fasoni.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was her, would have been.
Her great grandmother?
Great,
Oh.
I
Yeah.
don't know what,
Uh-huh.
how many generations down. Yeah.
Now, that would have been probably her
Fasonis.
great-great-grandmother.
All the Fasonis.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
That would probably been her, at least her great-great-great.
At least her great.
Yeah.
At least her
Well, if it was my
great.
great grandmother, would it be her great grandmother?
No, cause her dad was young. Her dad was, her dad wasn't, I mean, he was only
Yeah.
probably 25 years older than me, 20 years older than me.
Linda Fasoni was friends with Angela, and Jean Fasoni was friends with you. Carried on all those generations later.
Well, see, and they all helped each other. There was these Marlowe brothers that grew up like brothers with my dad and Uncle Beebe and Uncle Harry and all, because their mother died when they were little. They lived up the street, and their father had to go to work, and they had these 3 or 4, I think 3 boys and a girl, a daughter. And my grandma Brunella would keep them, after school and everything until along with all her kids, till their father got home from work. They all pitched in and helped each other. Carrie Gargata lived across the street, and she was, not rich, but she was doing, living well. And my grandma was struggling, raising all those kids and her husband dead, So Carrie Gargata would send her kids over, or tell my grandma to send my dad, tell Tony and Bibi come. She says, I cooked way too much stuff. She didn't want her to feel like she was giving her food.
Mhm.
I don't wanna throw it
So my
away.
grandma knew she cooked extra for, she says, I cooked way too much, and my kids, you know how they are, they won't eat leftovers. So will you send Tony and Bibi over and take this off my hands, this food off my hands, because my kids won't eat it now. But my grandma knew she was cooked it extra for them, but she didn't want her to feel like she
Like she
was
was, yeah.
giving her charity, So my dad laughed, said, we always knew. She said, oh, I cooked way too much, send Tony over, I could get rid of this food, my kids won't eat leftovers, and she'd do this all the time. They'd help each other like that,
And then in
My
the
grandma
meantime,
watched those Marlowe boys all the time, cause their mother died, and they grew up like brothers, my dad and them with those Marlowe brothers.
but then her mom or your grandma and her sister fed the hobos that came up from the railroad tracks. So they were needy, but yet they still never shied away from keep giving more food away to the hobos that would come up. The word got out, and
They'd
everybody
spread
come
the
up.
word, and then they had
Miss
this
Renella's house.
kind of little wall on their back porch, my grandma's, and they'd come up over the hill from back.
Over the
behind
railroad tracks.
From the railroad tracks, and they'd sit on that wall and Zia would serve them. They were all dirty, filthy overalls from sleeping on the freight train. And they'd fix my grandma Zia, her sister, they'd fix these plates of food, then Zia'd walk out with the cloth napkin, and she'd lay the napkin on each one of their laps. They were filthy, they were filthy dirty from the freight train. But Zia lay a white cloth napkin on all their laps, and then they come out with the bowls of soup and the stuff, and so the word got around. Well, we always had a line of hobos from the train tracks sitting along her wall there.
And
If they fed
cloth
religious
napkins
soup
would
or
be a lot of
something,
work.
they'd
To wash
grind
them
up
and
something.
iron them.
And cloth napkins were a lot of work. You have to wash them and iron them and dry them, you know,
Yeah.
iron everything because there was no dryers.
Oh, man, maybe used to iron the socks and underwear. Oh my God, really? Did you
Because,
ever
well,
anybody
it was stiff.
hear of anybody ironing socks?
But
and
you said they
underwear?
were
Maybe
stiff
did.
because there was no dryers to bounce them up. They just
Oh,
line
but
dried
still,
them.
your socks.
I know, but
And
maybe she
underpants.
thought it soft.
She ironed everything.
Yeah, but they had to.
Dish rags, the dish, that you wash the dishes with, she ironed
Of course,
everything.
you had to iron all the sheets and pillowcases and everything. They had to iron everything. Everything was cotton.
Starched. When she ironed her shirt, it looked like you come out of the finest laundry in the city. I mean, she starched those collars and the cuffs.
Who are you
in
talking
front,
about right now?
Mamie.
Mamie?
Man, those shirts were like this when they could stand up.
That was grandpa's sister. Was that grandpa's
Yeah.
Dad's
sister?
sister.
Yeah.
Oh, when she ironed her shirt, I mean, she spent it, I don't know how much time on it, it was perfection. It just,
Sweet
just
family.
adorned with starch.
And Mamie was the one that knew every genealogy and knew how everybody was
That's
related
awesome.
and all.
Maybe
Yeah.
tell you who was related to who, she'd go
Yeah,
back
it's
3
fine.
generations.
No matter who it was, she'd know. How do you get? Yeah. You couldn't figure out something, you'd always ask Aunt Mamie.
Those little attorneys, they don't make them like them anymore.
Makes you wanna go home and iron, doesn't
I
Never,
don't iron
never.
anything.
it?
No.
Yeah.
If it's wrinkled, I just throw it back in the dryer for a few more
Like
minutes
little
and get those
bottles
wrinkles
starch,
back out.
The water was like, and they'd sprinkle it on.
Sprinkle
and
it
Oh, yeah, they had the
water,
bottle,
but
yeah.
Kind of milky
Yeah, they'd
water.
sprinkle that,
Yeah.
It was full
it
of
had
water
to
and
be
starch.
wet, they-
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't a
They'd
spray.
sprinkle it.
Oh, no, it was just
Well,
yeah.
they'd sprinkle and then roll the clothes up,
Yeah.
cause they had to iron them, there was no steam iron, they had to iron them damp.
Yeah.
To get the
I
wrinkles
used to
out.
come home for lunch and iron handkerchiefs and stuff like that, my
Iron
mom's
socks.
handkerchiefs
My mother ironed
and all that
socks
stuff.
and
I'd come
everything.
home for lunch to help her and
Underwear.
Oh,
I'd iron
what
the,
a sweet
the little
boy.
stuff, the handkerchiefs, and little stuff like that. And I'd sprinkle all that, yeah, sprinkle water on.
When my Aunt Mamie got through ironing her shirt, I mean, it was perfection.
Everything.
Everything in your family sounds like perfection. As far as, grandma, how she'd make her little food. And
Oh, yeah.
remember once being over there and she had her little kitchen scissors and snipping every little piece of fat off a little bit of gabagola or something to make the little finger
Oh, yeah,
sandwiches, those
Yeah.
cute little finger sandwiches. She was
She'd make
snipping all the
everything
little,
real pretty, her cakes
garnish
and
and-
everything were real pretty.
yeah, those finger sandwiches dishes were so
Little
awesome.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever the bishop was going to Holy Rosary, Father Donna did call her, requesting something, and the bishop would ask for, you tell that lady make me that cream cake, he loved that
Yeah.
sponge cream cake. Okay, 43. Rattling. Breathing real hard. His mouth open.
It's a lot calmer though than this afternoon before the nursing.
She hasn't given them the medicine in a while, but was it because they were late?
She gave it at 7.
Oh, she did give them
I think-
7? Cause I was
She's
thinking
got
they
a
were.
she's got a checklist and
Okay. Cause I thought since the medicine was maybe gonna come at 7, I thought they were waiting for the new
I don't know if
medicine.
it came yet.
I never saw, it hasn't come
It
yet,
hasn't
but
come yet.
I hadn't seen her given medicine in a while.